Good evening. The Parashat Kedoshim, the Torah commands us, Lo takifu pe'ad roshechem, to not shave off the peyot of a person's head. We're all going to get a haircut, B'ezrat Hashem, and shave. On Lamed Daled Ba'omer, Wednesday morning, is the earliest a Sephardi is allowed to get a haircut and shave. Therefore, those who want to get a haircut and shave, they have to know they fulfill the mitzvah, the oraita, the mitzvah from the Torah, prohibition from the Torah, not to shave off the peyot of the head. Therefore, we have to know what this means. What is the halakha? Shaving off the peyot is the same transgression in the Torah on the level of eating pig. The person says to eat pig is a negative transgression in the Torah. Shaving off the peyot is also the same thing. It's a negative transgression in the Torah. The Mishnah Masechet Makot tells us you're liable for each peyah, each corner of the head. A person's liable for taking off each side. Now, the Mishnah Masechet Makot, the third chapter, tells us that you're not allowed to take off each side of the peyot, and also you're not allowed to take off each of the corners of the beard. And then the Mishnah says at the end, you're not liable unless you take it off with a razor. So what is this razor? It's going on both the beard and the peyot, or just the beard? So the machloket, if a person uses a scissors to go cut his peyot very short, is that allowed? According to Rambam, he writes in the Chod Avodah Zarah, he says yes, you're allowed. A person's allowed to cut his peyot very short with a scissors. Why? Because only a razor is asur from the Torah to use a razor on the peyot. If you want to cut it as short as you want with the scissors, says the Rambam mutar. However, the Rosh Masechet Makot, he argues and he says no, you're not allowed to misparayim ke'entar, scissors that cut very short like a razor is also not allowed. So therefore, what does Shulchan Aruch write? Siman Kufei Aleph. Shulchan Aruch writes Siman Kufei Aleph that he quotes the Rambam, and then he quotes the Rosh that does not permit using scissors to cut very short, and therefore he says V'yesh lachosh edivreim. And the Maran says you should go and be wary for the opinion of the Rosh, and you should not use scissors to go and cut your peyot very short. Even though the Rambam permits it, the Rambam Shulchan Aruch says you should not do so. What does that mean? The barber machines that we have today, that you go and get a haircut, you get a 1, or you get a 2, you get a 3 or 4, whatever you get in the store, right? That is a fancy scissors machine. That's what it is. It's a stationary blade, one blade going back and forth. So it's a fancy scissors. According to Rambam, you'll be allowed to get any size you want on the sides by the peyot. According to the Rosh, you're not. You'll be transgressing a Torah prohibition by getting a too short of a haircut on the side of your head. So according to the Shulchan Aruch, he says you should be wary, you should follow the Rosh and not follow the Rambam. How short is too short? The Achronim, the Hatam Sofer, Kiva Eger, and many others, they say that the hair has to be able to be folded. What does that mean to be folded? The Achronim say this is the size of 2. The 2 guard on the barber machine is the shortest a person can do on the side of the peyot. So according to this, a lot of people who get the fade haircut, the youngsters, they like to get the short haircut on the side and long on top. If they're not leaving a size 2 on the side, they're shaving off the peyot, according to many opinions. They're shaving off the peyot, the Torah prohibition. Also, on top of that, there's Machlok, Rambam, and Rashi. What is blorit? Blorit is a goyish haircut, where you leave certain parts of the hair long. According to Rashi, it means when you grow your hair out long, like a mullet. But according to Rambam, when you shave off the sides of your head and leave it long on top, that is what is considered blorit. It's a goyish haircut. It's called following the ways of the goyim. When you go and shave the sides of your head short and leave long on top. So therefore we come to get a haircut this coming week, when definitely the youngsters, we know youngsters in the community, we should tell them, there's a proper way to get a haircut. You have to know how to shave off the peyot properly. You have to not transgress a prohibition every single time. A barber who's Jewish, and he serves a lot of Jews, he has to make sure also that he doesn't shave off other Jews' peyot. Just because the guy is going to pay you $50 for it, doesn't mean that you should give him the fade that's going to be a 1 or a 0 on the sides, just because he asked for it. The person has to know, do not put a stumbling block before the blind, so you help another person, another Jew, to not shave off his peyot. The bottom boundary, the Rishonim write, the bottom boundary of the peyot is the end of the cheekbone. That's what the Rashi and the Meiri say. The Rivan is mahmir until the end of the ear. You'll see more yeshivish people, they have till the end of the ear because they're following the Rivan. But according to Rashi and Meiri, it's at the end of the bone, and it begins at the top of the ear, and it goes all the way diagonally to where the head is on the forehead. So if a person will take the side of his head, you go from here on the top of the ear, straight diagonal line to where his forehead is, everything under there till the end of the cheekbone is considered a peyah, and a person has to make sure that it is not a less than a 2. People who shave, sometimes they shave too high. They shave their sideburn too high, and it's over here. It has to make sure that it's till the end of the bone, so he doesn't transgress the isur of shaving off the peyot. The Rambam says, why do we have to keep our peyot? So we don't look like the galach, so we don't look like the priests, the Avodah Zarah, the service members who used to go and shave off the sides of the head. Rabbi Zino says is because Hashem put a beard and peyot on a man, and they permitted the woman to shave it off. Why? Because that way there'll be a difference between how women look and how men look in this generation, especially today, how it's becoming chas v'shalom mixed. So therefore, it's a very important mitzvah to keep the peyot. That way, you make a difference between how the men are supposed to look and how the woman is supposed to look. Yeah.